Does your Canvas app have OnStart logic to decide which screen to navigate to? Move that logic to the new StartScreen property and make your app perform better. Mostafa, the engineer that worked on it, is going to show us how in PowerCat Live. Welcome to PowerCat Live. My name is Phil Topness on the PowerCat team, and I'm here with Mostafa Elzoghbi, a principal software engineer on the Power Platform team. Hey, Mostafa.
Hey.
So tell us a little bit about what you do on Power Platform and your path getting to this role.
I actually joined the Power Platform this year. I am part of the Enterprise Platform group, where we do a lot of enterprise platform capabilities and new features. Before that, I used to be part of the mixed reality, dynamics, and a couple of other product groups. And it has been fun.
And I will do a little bit of your intro for you. So the Enterprise Platform team works with a lot of the same customers PowerCat does, these large companies that are building just amazing Power Apps, and Mostafa has saved me more than once. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
So what are you going to show today on PowerCat Live?
Today, we're going to show a new feature that we have been working on, and the new feature called StartScreen. And basically, think about it, it's a new version of the OnStart, where actually allow you to directly navigate to the first screen without writing a lot of code or creating a blocking OnStart in your app.
So why is StartScreen better than OnStart?
We have seen that there is a lot of pattern that makers use a blocking OnStart, and it takes 50% of the load time. So let me give you some examples. So we have seen a lot of apps that takes, let's say, 6 or 7 seconds to load just to show the first screen. And half of this time is basically being consumed on the OnStart. And when we looked into and working with a lot of large customers, and some of it with you, we have seen that the makers, they have write a lot of code to load unnecessary data to show the first screen. So with this screen, with this feature, we're actually helping them to navigate quickly to the first screen, and then you still can do all the other data manipulation and filtering and lookup. The idea is how to get faster to our first screen in Canvas apps.
So can you show us how this will be used?
Let's get started. Once you open any new app in the studio, you're going to see a new property called StartScreen. That's a different from the OnStart that we all used to, and we have been using it for years. So the StartScreen definitely is an optional feature. So you can write something on it and basically define which screen you want to navigate to, or even you leave it empty. So if you left it empty, the app automatically will go to your first screen in the tree. So here I just created a sample app to mimic basically a common use case. We have a landing page, which is the home screen, and we have a store manager. So the first and the easy thing you need to do is you can, once you select this property, you will be able to say what's the screen you want to go to. So you're going to see autocomplete, as you know, or you can write, I want to go to the store manager. So you can write which screen you want to go to. That's it. And once you save, basically this means that this is your first screen you want to start with. No a lot of lines of code or anything like that.
Nice.
And also within the studio, if you want to test out what you wrote here, we actually created something very handy for you here to show you navigate to StartScreen quickly. So if I click on it, you will see that basically I'm navigating to the screen. And I want to cover some other capabilities within this feature and what's allowed within the StartScreen property. So a common use case, for example, if I want to comment this out. So for example, if I'm as manager and I'm passing 1, I go to the store manager screen. If not, go to the home screen. Same thing, for example, if I'm still selecting store manager, I want to make sure here that when you do any changes in the start screen, make sure that you just save the changes, and then you go here and say, click on navigate to the screen. Do you see, like we went directly to the home screen? Why? Because I didn't pass any parameter.
Right.
Yeah, and even if you want to test it in the normal pattern, you can still save and publish. And I can show you here the app and how the app works. So for example, here is manager is 1. So if I refresh, you see automatically I went to the store manager screen. If actually I pass anything other than 1, let's say I pass 0, so we will go to the home screen. So expected behavior, nothing changed, but actually let's code to basically to go to your first screen in the Canvas app. And we also thought about other use cases. So a lot of people check on the logged in user. So you still can use if conditions. You can basically check the user function and see, for example, for example, I'm logged in user as Mostafa. So that's my email address. So, okay, if it's Mostafa, go to the store manager directly. So you still can do this, save, and the same thing, you can navigate to StartScreen to see the behavior of the property. We also, a lot of people use connectors. So you can use SharePoint connector, for example, to check a lot of people, let's say if you are doing a document approval application and they check on a certain items in a SharePoint list. So you still can use a SharePoint list and count the rows, and filter if you want. For example, if this more than 0 records, okay, this is like a require some approval. So you go to the store manager screen. So you still can use this, which is a very popular when you use connectors. We also thought about customers who are using mobile and offline. So for example, people, some people, we saw logic if we are connected, if there is an internet, do this. If it's not connected, do this. So you still can use the connection object to check on the status of the connection. If it's connected, do this. So you can go to this screen. For example, if you are in an offline mode, you still can go to the home screen, and the home screen show maybe some useful information. All this, and more examples will be in our documentation, but I just want to go through the main primary use cases. Also, you will be able to use, if you want to use F error, usually people do some calls. If there is an error in the call, go to the home screen, you still can use that. So this is some of the, what's available and what's supported in the StartScreen property.
So we could have done this with OnStart as well. Will that continue to work?
So by default now, if you are creating a new app within the authoring, you will not be allowed to use Navigate in OnStart. It's disabled by default. So let's see here how it works. So if you want to OnStart now, create a new app, and you start to use Navigate on it. Let's say I'm navigating to the store manager screen, and then you try to save. You will see that there is an error. Let me just here run the performance checker here, the app checker. You will see that there is an error. And if you look here, you will see that the Navigate is not permitted in OnStart. Use the StartScreen property instead. And also, if you want to basically enable it and you really want to use it for your app, what we actually recommend, we actually create a feature gate for you that you can go from the file, app, under the upcoming features, click on the retired, and you will be able to enable Navigate in function in OnStart. And as you guys see here, that the Navigate OnStart is going away, later in the future. So that's why when we put a feature under the retired tab that tells you that the new approach of the declarative pattern, that's what we are recommending for our customers. That's why we created the StartScreen. But for the migration and for existing, application, that's not going to affect you because everything will work as expected. But if you still want to copy and paste the same pattern that you have from the old app in the new app, make sure to enable the Navigate and OnStart feature flag here.
And among other things, StartScreen will make your app faster. That alone is a reason to use it, but it's good to know that the writing is on the wall for Navigate and OnStart. So a lot of what you just showed, we could do with OnStart before, right? By adding logic and then navigating to a screen. But you mentioned that that's a blocking pattern. So explain why StartScreen is better in those cases.
Okay. So usually if we have 10 lines of code in the OnStart and you load a lot of data in collections, and then at the last line of the OnStart, you say navigate.
Right.
So you are basically showing to the platform, I want you to do all these 9 calls or 9 lines of code needs to be executed before going to the OnStart, basically navigate to the target screen. And that's what we call it the blocking OnStart. So we have to wait until connecting to your data sources. Let's say you're using SharePoint, or even using your own custom database, SQL Server or whatever. So all of this has to be blocking. You're not using a lot of capabilities in the platform that we can run a lot of things in parallel. On the other hand, the StartScreen, you are just telling us, if you look at this logic, you're just telling us, execute this as soon as possible. So as we are loading the app and loading all your first screen, we execute this formula at the same time. And we don't need to wait until, execute all the other lines of code that has nothing to do with the first screen.
So much better performance for this very common pattern of applying logic to figure out what the first
That's pretty much what it is.
See.
Yep.
What's next for StartScreen?
So this is, so we just started the declarative OnStart Motion. This is just one of a lot of other new capabilities that we're going to start releasing in the next few months. More capabilities when it comes to caching the data, global formulas. There's a lot of work that we're working on to give you this capability that just tell us, I want these 3-4 formulas, and we can run it as soon as possible. There's a lot of capability. This is just one out of other new capabilities that we are planning to roll out in the next few months.
And you're going to come back and give us a sneak peek at the other capabilities?
Definitely will do.
All right. You heard it here. Thanks so much, Mostafa, for showing this. It's great to talk to you as always. And it's good to see what's coming too. This is a great feature.
Thank you.